I'm so fortunate to be interviewing Anya Satyanand. And Anya is the CEO of Leadership New Zealand. Kia ora, Anya.
O tēnā koe mai.
Anya, I just wanted to talk to you because, you know, we've had all of these applications. So there's a real appetite out there. There's lots of people who are diverse and they want to get on boards. They find it hard. And as you know, we had an interview on Saturday where people talked about the difficulty of that journey. Some people have got on the list. Some people will be emerging directors and we're going to be profiling them today, but some people didn't get on the list. So talk to me about how you work with your organisation to prepare people for this leadership journey, which is about becoming a director on a board.
Thank you, Mai. Thanks for the question. And I just really want to offer a big mihi to the Super Diversity Institute for this awesome initiative, which is totally, thinking about the kinds of perspectives and voices that we need shaping our future direction and strategy, not only for the 21st century, but into the 22nd century, thinking long term about where we're traveling as a country, as organizations, as businesses. The kinds of voices and perspectives that you are profiling as part of this initiative are exactly the voices and perspectives that we need. So tēnā koe and tēnā koutou katoa to everyone who's been involved. I mean, I think there are a lot of barriers in place in terms of pathways into governance and into stepping into directorship. A lot of barriers, and you know, the work that Leadership New Zealand does is really about equipping, inspiring, challenging people to step up to the challenge of 21st century leadership, and really build the capabilities for leading in an uncertain world. And I think most uniquely, our organisation is grounded in Aotearoa and very much focused on the future of our nation. So all of the work that we do, all of our programs reach towards a more hopeful future for Aotearoa and really tool people up with thinking according to different paradigms and different horizons in terms of how their leadership can serve the greater good. We have two heartbeat programs, the New Zealand Leadership Program and the Mana Moana Experience. So the New Zealand Leadership Program really intentionally calls forth the magnificent super diversity of Aotearoa. And every year we travel with between 30 and 36 leaders who deep dive in immersive retreats with amazing speakers to really test, strengthen, and deepen their own leadership practice and their vision for the future. The Mana Moana Experience is for Pacifica leaders and focuses on the recovery and resourcing of the ancestral wisdom of the Pacific to tool up leaders for our 21st century reality and indeed catalyse their thinking about their contribution to the future of Aotearoa as well. And we're also working on a number of other different offerings. So we have our Lead to Transform program, and we are deeply interested in working with people who actually are leading in their communities, leading in their businesses, but they might not necessarily have the job title or have attained kind of that positional leadership that often accompanies those who find their way onto board tables and into directorships. So we're very much focused on those kind of pathways for people to embolden them really about how they might contribute to strategy and to governance.
So do you think the diverse need different training, or do they just need the same training?
Well, I mean, interesting, because I think like when I think about that word, it describes a state of relationship, right? So what we need are diversity around board tables, and we need diverse boards, but we don't have diverse individuals. So when I think about those ones who maybe have faced barriers and who aren't necessarily well represented around our board tables, what do they need in terms of skills and capabilities to step up onto board conversations? And really, when I think about that, it comes down to actually just some key literacies around the kind of language and protocol that exists around board tables, but also a sense of the value that they are bringing. Often when we find ourselves in unfamiliar circumstances with a whole lot of off-putting language and process stuff, it can be very difficult to speak with a strong voice, to speak and share your view, because it can often feel like your view is maybe not relevant or not useful in that context. And that's, I think, a lot of the work that we need to do with those people who are not necessarily well represented around board tables at the moment. It's really emboldening them and tooling them up with some of that, the basic stuff about, like, here's how board rooms operate and function, and here's some of the freaky language that they use, here's some of the jargon and technical stuff. Really, this is what it means.
If you are a round peg, this is how you fit into a square hole.
That's right. But I actually also think that if we are to create diverse board rooms and diverse board tables, that there is a massive priority to shift our protocols and language to be more inclusive, so that actually we don't have to do that work with the fresh thinking and the new perspectives that people who've faced barriers to date to stepping up into those spaces face. Actually, that we're transforming our practice around the board table, our protocols, that we make them more inclusive, and that board chairs actually step up into the responsibility of what that means. Like, if we are bringing together diverse boards, there is a real leadership challenge around how do we lead conversations that create space for every single voice to be heard, because
I love
diversity is
I'm busy asking you questions about training for the diverse, but you're coming back and saying, no, Mai, we need training at both ends of the table.
It's true. We can't do one without the other. Yeah.
Which is so important, because at the end of the day, you can put diverse people onto boards, but it's hard for them to do diverse thinking if everybody else thinks they are way out there. What are you talking about? How is that relevant? So how do you teach diverse thinkers to be able to be influential around the board table?
I think a lot of it is about helping them to understand that our 21st century challenges require different thinking and require different perspectives around the table of decision making in order to solve them. And the superpowers actually that people who have often been left out of decision making bring into those spaces are that they actually they do bring out of the box thinking, and they bring the perspectives of that are gained through experience and lived experience of living in the world as someone who potentially looks different to those ones who are around the table. They've got different life experiences. They've got different whakapapa and different kind of ancestry that gives them superpowers to sit in those places. And they have, I think, also a different sense of what the issues and challenges are. They bring a really important perspective. Whether they're a person who's bringing the lived experience of growing up rainbow in Aotearoa and navigating all the complexity that brings, or growing up as a member of an ethnic community. Those perspectives are actually exactly the perspectives that we need to be shaping strategy and our future direction in almost every way in New Zealand.
Is it changing, Anya? Can you sense the change? Can you see it?
I mean, I'm by nature impatient, and you ask me that question, I say not fast enough.
I am by nature an optimist.
I am also an optimist, but I'm impatient as well, and it's not moving fast enough. And actually, we do need initiatives like the one that the Super Diversity Institute has kicked off. We do need organisations like Leadership New Zealand really trying to catalyse change, both in individuals and an individual sense of their own capability and interest in participating in board conversations and in kind of social change work. But also at kind of systems level, we need to intervene on our systems because they're not producing change at the rate at which it's needed. So my answer to your question is like the change that is needed is really clear. The barriers that exist are increasingly visible, and actually we need collectively to make a decision about what appetite we have as a nation for staying stuck in a colonial past or moving forwards into a bright and super diverse future.
I am always inspired by speaking to you, Anya, and we will follow your lead. Please help us train the pipeline of diverse thinking directors and wannabe directors. There's so much talent out there, Anya, but we need more experience, we need more expertise, and we need to galvanise people to be courageous and to be who they are. Thank you very much for all your thoughts and insights. And go strong, my friend, because we are sending a lot of people your way.
Ngā mihi nui ki a koe, Mai, and ka nui te mihi ki a koutou for this work and this kaupapa. We're cheering you on from the sidelines, and yeah, really keen to work with you and collaborate on what the next steps might look like.
Kia ora. Ka kite.
Hei kona.